Everton have been in great form since the appointment of David Moyes, but how has he turned their fortunes around? Hello and welcome back to INMR, where in today's podcast I'm going to explain exactly how Moyes has saved Everton and the key tactical changes that's going to help them stay up. When Everton lost 1-0 to Bournemouth, it was no surprise due to the season that Everton were having and the season that Bournemouth were having. But for the Everton fans, that result gave them the depressing impression that after years of flirting with relegation, their luck might have finally run out. But as it happens, their season took a drastic turn after that game as Sean Dyche was sacked and David Moyes came in. I think it's fair to say that that decision has worked out pretty well for the Toffees so far. It's important to look at Everton's tactics under Sean Dyche before we look at David Moyes' to get a better understanding of their development since Moyes came in. So let's begin by outlining some of the key ideas under Sean Dyche. Dyche's style of play was known for its emphasis on defence first and attack second. When the chance presented itself, he wanted his sides to counter quickly and be strong at the back. That was evident every time Everton played, as throughout their time under Dyche they averaged 42% possession per game. And this wasn't a bad thing when Dyche came in. Initially they were leaking goals left, right and centre, and all they needed was someone to teach them how to not concede goals. But it was clear that as time went on, purely focusing on defending and not scoring goals was going to be a huge issue. In this example against Fulham, the predictable ball was played over the top to Harrison and Fulham could easily prevent the threat. The big issue with this though is not the predictable ball over the top, but it's Calvert-Lewin's positioning. Everton's complete lack of threat centrally in the final third was behind their poor form in front of goal. The striker often dropped deep to help with link-up play, but then by the time that his team reached the final third, he wasn't where he was supposed to be to turn the chances away. As mentioned though, Dyche's focus was on the defensive duties during his time, which Everton did master. This season they've proven tough to beat in games, winning 62.1% of their duels and 45.5% of their aerial duels. The 4-4-2 structure under Dyche was key to this defensive solidity because their shape allowed them to squeeze the opposition players into tight areas when they approached them. Structurally, Everton were fantastic, but they were still leaking 1.19 goals per 90, which of course made it seem that relegation this season was inevitable. Luckily for Everton, David Moyes has restored the faith that they will be a Premier League side next season as they enter their new stadium. Since his return, Moyes has implemented a far more unpredictable system in possession and of course maintained that defensive solidity. You can see that here where Mykolenko runs up and Ndiaye plays into the half spaces. Moyes' changes made it harder for Leicester to close down Mykolenko, forcing James Justin to follow Ndiaye, which meant Wout-Faes had to hold his position. This combination play has given Everton a new lease of life going forward, leading to 10 goals in their last 4 Premier League games. The other thing that Moyes has introduced is a greater tactical flexibility. For example, against Tottenham, Moyes started Mykolenko and Jesper Lindström as wing-backs. This allowed midfielders to push forwards and increase the number of players they had in dangerous areas. The pressure on the Tottenham backline was effective as the trio of Lindström, Gay and Mangala successfully regained the ball high up the field. Calvert-Lewin's goal against Tottenham ended his personal drought and it's expected to be a key factor for Everton's Premier League matches. Moyes has made massive improvements both in the attack and defence for Everton since coming in. He's encouraged his team to take the game to the opponents rather than sitting back and absorbing pressure, then hitting on the counter like Dyche did. This has led to more proactive play, such as Branthwaite halting Brighton's run, showing patience and allowing his team time to recover before attempting to regain possession. This has made Everton more confident and tougher to face, meaning Moyes has made them believe that they actually can stay in the Premier League this campaign. Despite Everton doing very well in recent matches, they mustn't get complacent and have to continue working hard to maintain their position above the drop zone. One area of improvement for them is avoiding overplaying in passing sequences and giving the ball away unnecessarily. Everton's 81.2% passing accuracy has led to premature attacks which have to be addressed as they adapt to their new style. For example, in a recent game, Everton's attempt to play it into James Garner failed, highlighting their need to stop overplaying the ball when in possession. Moyes faces a tricky decision when deciding who starts at wing-back, with Lindström often playing on the right wing. His crossing quality and combination play are crucial when Everton go forward, however he has shown that he isn't a defender. So, Moyes may need to consider changing that wing-back setup in order to accommodate the players he's currently got. Everton's long ball strategy under Dyche was really boring and one-dimensional, and that was expected to change under Moyes. However, 33.1% of deliveries have found their intended target. Everton's desire to be a little more patient is seen in their 4th highest number of passes attempted and touches of the ball in the middle third this season, with 468 and 250 respectively. You can see here the differences between the final game of Sean Dyche's era and the first game of David Moyes' era. Against Bournemouth, there was an attempt to be more controlled and less direct. However, the fact that Everton lost the ball 20 times, the second highest number in the league this season, is telling. Asking for more patience in possession of course carries its risk, and it's no accident that Everton committed 3 mistakes against Villa that resulted in the shot. What Moyes was trying to do there was increase the offensive threat without giving up that defensive structure. Everton played Villa in a 4-2-3-1 setup and of course didn't change the names on the team sheet too much because he hadn't had much time to prepare with them. With Jack Harrison going on the right and Dominic Calvert-Lewin replacing Broha due to injury, Abdoulaye Doucouré was the makeshift 10 in that game because for Moyes the method was more important than personnel. He just needed to get his points across. Everton got an XG of 1.14 in that game, which was their 5th highest total of the season. They also attempted 20 crosses, which was their 6th most. However, their shot count of 10 and their 6 chances created didn't match up with what they'd done under Dyche earlier on in the season. However, it is getting better, they are creating more chances and as I said earlier, they're scoring far more goals. They've scored 10 in their last 4 games as I mentioned earlier, and overall Moyes has improved Everton's attack whilst maintaining that defensive solidity. Which of course means Everton's chances of staying up is now looking far better than ever. If the Toffees can maintain this positive form, anything can happen come the end of the season. So what do you think? Where will Everton finish at the end of this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there are plenty of others you can go and listen to. For more content, be sure to check out my website, that's inmrfootball.co.uk. On there you can find match reports, live blogs, club updates and so much more. And if that's not enough, INMR is also on X and Instagram, so you can follow me on both of those platforms for even more daily football content. Thank you very much for listening and I will see you in the next one.